They were going up over the mountains. There were times that the road wasn't a foot wider than the vans we were riding. And it was pretty precarious looking. But we rode over to a village, and I don't remember its name, but it's called the Village of the Caves. And for hundreds of years, those villagers have been living in caves. And they're not caves in cliffs, they're caves kind of in limestone. They're holes in the ground. And some of them are huge. One of them was the size of one of our Sunday school classrooms, and it's where they had school for the kids. Now, the last 10 years, the state has been going in there, and they've been building little concrete houses for these folks and trying to get them out of the caves. But there are still at least 2 families that are still living in the caves. Go ahead. And we took over that way. We got to a place where we actually ended up with more people than we had room for in the vans, because we stopped and picked up some people that knew the cave people so that they would welcome us and not be afraid of us. So we carried in someone to help us. And this is Dr. Martin and some of the boys riding in the back of this truck. In this truck, we had stopped on the way over there, and we bought 200 pounds of beans, 200 pounds of corn, 200 pounds of rice, bananas, and animal crackers. And that's what we're taking to the cave. And so we head on over, and there's the supply. Go ahead. And we come into this is the village as we crossed over the hill that we saw there. Again, an hour and a half off the road. Go ahead. And here we come up, and with the pickup there was a little house in the background. When we pulled up, the lady came out of this house, and she said, "You can come in here and distribute this food if you'd like." And so we headed into this lady's house, and we took these. You see Mike over here on the left with these basically Walmart bags, and we put basically 2 pounds of beans and corn and rice in those, and the bananas and so forth, and distributed those to the families in this village. On the right, you see, some of the folks had heard that we were bringing them stuff, so they brought their buckets. They were going to help us out, and so we filled their buckets full of stuff. Go ahead. This is the main mode of transportation on the left in this village. I only got nervous in this village one moment when that man pulled out a 3-foot machete out of his pocket to show off to the guys that were standing around. I was not real thrilled about that, Adam, but he was proud of his machete. And then, of course, even these little kids, they still like the stickers. And they all flooded around heavy. Go ahead. Now, one of the other things that has benefited this kind of thing, we get to return to our roots. Evan went back to the clothesline. And I just want you to know, I was doing more than take pictures. I was helping hang clothes in the clothesline. Go ahead. This is the camp area that we talked about. On the right is the meeting area. This is the mode of transportation that we have. We have 2 of those vans, and then the trailers in the back. We have all of our supplies in, and that trailer becomes the drugstore when we get into the villages. Go ahead. This is Monday morning. We head into another village. This is what we happen to see about everywhere we go. They're standing waiting on us as we get there. Go ahead. And of course, all the little kids. They do. Most of the time, we use schools. They close the schools for the day and give us a couple of classrooms, one to put the dentist in, one to put the doctor in, and one for, usually 3, one for the check-in and triage. And so the kids are free. This is the little school that we're in that day. And I didn't understand this parade. Go ahead.
That's kindergarten children going to their classroom.
Okay.
And that's what they're doing.
Okay. I just thought.
The building, that like the one behind on the left, that's like one of the classrooms.
That is their typical school classrooms. Notice on top of it. I mean, this is a raw, rough, concrete block building. The seats that the kids sit in look like things we threw away right after I got through with grade school. Rough, poor, outside bathrooms called baños. No thanks. rough, but you get inside and they've got the projector and the computer and the satellite dish. And
That was in the high schools.
that was in the high schools for sure. Yeah. In one of our, I think 2 of our doctor's offices, we had a little projector on the roof, but it's very interesting. Go ahead. And of course, posing for pictures. One I thought you might be interested in this one, the kids, is that's the way the kids have to dress every day for school. Uniforms. All kids wear uniforms to school. And they have, this is the sweater skirt outfit. The other outfit they have are what we call running suits with the matching. Go ahead. Papas. And one story I want to tell on this picture. In the village we were at, I think it was the first village possibly, a gentleman about that age. Now, those guys are in their 20s. Not really, but they look older than they are. One gentleman about that age came in and started telling the doctor what was wrong with him, and I heard the missionary who was translating exhale and said, "I was afraid we'd run into this." And the story he was telling was that he had been kidnapped by the cartel and that he had been beaten with 2 befores until they thought he was dead, and they left him for dead. And he was just broke up, just broke ribs, limbs. He was, now this had been some months, he was mobile, but he was having organ problems, because basically they busted him up. And the doctor was trying to help him go through. Kids. Now, while we were doing the medical things, there was about almost 10 men. They had also hired 3 or 4 of the churchmen there in Mexico to help them more than for their help. But this gentleman on the right is from North Carolina. He is a great Christian man. He owns a Christmas tree farm there. And he goes down 2 or 3 times a year and does construction for them. And what they're doing, this group was doing, they were building pews and a desk for one of the churches over in Aquas. And this is the pastor's new desk. Go ahead to the next one. And this is his new pews. And they built 22 of those pews for the church in Aquas. And the church will sand them a little more and will stain them. And the ladies are making cushions, of course. You can't have pews without cushions. Go ahead. One of the ways that we're kept safe is that we have cooks. They're actually one of the pastor's mothers and some of the other ladies from the church there that cook for us in the place. Go ahead. And this is Evelyn's lady friend. She is the main cook. On the left, on the right, there's some of the bread that she had made for that day. Ellen had a wonderful moment with this lady. She's got such a sweet spirit. She speaks no English whatsoever. And Evelyn's Spanish is muy poquito, which means very, very, very little. But they, over the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years, they have it's been evident they have a very special relationship, though they can't talk to each other. And through the computer this time, I was able to sit down and let Ellen type a conversation with this lady, and the computer translated it as she went in Spanish. And they had a sweet, sweet time together. Go ahead. Another day, this is another village, and a little bit I wanted to tell you about this. This house behind us there, one of the main men of the village has built this for his son, who's living in Los Angeles, who will be back in Mexico in September. Probably his work visa's running out, and he's going to have to come home. But he built that for them, and it's never been lived in, and they let us use that for our doctor's office. So we had quite a nice building that day. You can see it if you look real closely, but look over here on the very top left at the wire that's going up for electricity. When we got there, the house didn't have electricity, and all of a sudden the lights came on. and I kind of went to look around at what they'd done, and he had taken a ladder and gone up and just hung 2 wires over the electric service. And they borrowed electricity for the day. And that's how he had the lights. But this house, a couple things that I think you'll find interesting. Not necessarily inspirational, but interesting. He had worked in the LA Basin for 15 years as a roofer. And he said he made from $150 to $200 a day roofing in that 15 years. Now he's back in Mexico with his family, and he makes $10 a day doing the same work. That's the difference. And he built that house, which is a nice house, for $7,000. So, okay. My job, just quite often people ask what I do. That's what I do. I'm a traffic cop. And the people have checked in with triage. They have found out what their basic needs are. They give me a slip of paper that has their name on them, the order in which we check them in, what basically they need, and I'm the one that keeps them going in and out the doctor's offices and try to keep a flow of people going at all times. Here's one of Evelyn's new girlfriends. Go ahead. Stickers. Stickers, stickers, stickers. Go ahead. This was in that same village. These were our protectors for the day, the ones in uniform. The little girl on the left is a girl from Wendell, who is, let's see, how do I say this? She is the life of the party. She is somewhat blonde. Has no cautionary thoughts at all. She just going to live it. And she ends up getting the policeman fully armed in the back of their pickup with a muscle pose. And I wasn't sure that she was going to end up in jail, but that was interesting. One of the things that I wanted to mention about those gentlemen, the policemen, they were very kind, very warm, felt like they were there to help us. The weapons that they carried are throwaway junk. They were not good weapons at all. And no bullets in their belts at all. If they had some in the gun, that's all they had. And that's one of the real tragedies of the situation with the cartel. The criminals always out-arm the policemen. And these guys really just have no chance. They offer their lives, literally, for the protection of their people. Go ahead. And the babies. One of the things, I think the next one, okay, this just kind of shows the fact that no matter where you are, you might have cows in the yard, you might have donkeys in the yard, just whatever. Go ahead. This little couple, and we got to do this 3 times. They had just received the announcement that they are expecting their first child. And you can see they are very happy. I didn't show you the picture. They also took a picture of them holding up the little stick that they proved that they were. But we didn't do that one. And we just got a couple left. This is Dr. Mark Webb. If you haven't met him, he is our dentista. He's the dentist. And a wonderful man of God, one of the elders out at Central Holston Christian Church, who has given almost 20 years now on an annual basis to go to this part of Mexico and almost totally pull teeth. They fill a few, but most of the ones they check are too far gone. And so they pull and pull and pull. We still had trouble this year getting medicines across the border. What we got across was just a few of the necessities. He did a lot of his work without really the medicines he would like to have had. There was a dentist in Estancia that comes in once a week, I think, to visit that little village. She opened her drug cabinet and gave him all the anesthesia he needed. So that helped so very much. And so he was proud of that.